So in this Changing Faces report, as we said then, less than a third of young people will be friends with someone with a disfigurement. Almost half of young people have stared at a person with a visible difference or know someone who has. 1 in 6 have taken a photo of someone with a visible difference or know someone who has. So your vlog online, you're terribly positive.
Thank you.
You do makeup and you do your cookery, you do all of that sort of stuff. But initially, when you set it up, I think you were 8 when you set it up, and your parents decided that they would not allow comments. They switched off the comments. Why was that?
I think they were quite worried of what people would say because not everyone in the world is kind and people online can be quite cruel. And so because I was so young and I was doing something where anyone could see it, I think they wanted to just protect me, especially at such a young age, because they knew that people online aren't very nice sometimes and they wanted to just make sure that I wasn't going to be aware of the comments that people may make.
So when you were 10, they decided they would turn them back on again?
Yes.
And then what happened?
So I got many positive comments, which was really, really lovely because it just spurred me on to do more. But I did get negative comments such as, you're ugly, you look disgusting, like, what is that on your face, and things like that, which were quite disheartening, especially at such a young age, and because I wasn't used to it, because obviously I had had the comments.
First time you've heard it,
Yeah.
So how do you cope with something like that? I mean, you're incredibly young. I mean, you're incredibly bright and positive, as Phil just said, but still, no matter how thick-skinned you are, it must hurt.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even though you do grow a stronger skin through getting comments like that and just doing more of it, I definitely have, you'll never be able to 100% look at a comment and say, it doesn't get to me, it hasn't, like, touched a nerve or made me think or, you know, feel a certain way. But I think I've learned that through doing it, not everyone is going to be kind, and the haters and the trolls out there, it's more about them, the comments, than it is you.
Absolutely.
And it's a bit sad that people get satisfaction from making other people feel bad about themselves.
No one ever does it to your face, though. You've never had anyone do it to your face?
No.
Well, doesn't that say it all, really?
So what do you think about that?
Of a person.
It's definitely cowardly because you just think, well, people, like, just find it OK to comment these horrible things behind screens and cyberbully, but yet in person they would definitely not have the guts to face you face to face and say, oh, you're ugly, or why do you look like that? And if they did, then that's just horrible.
So tough. What about, because I mean, you were bullied at school and you had to move schools, and that wasn't necessarily down to appearance, because it was around 17 that your skin began to change and you began to get acne.
It was different. I think my situation differs slightly because I was in the public eye when my spots became quite bad. It was always kind of the online trolls. So yeah, it's just not very nice. And I do think, you know, I wish, because Nikki and I met a couple of months ago and we had such a lovely time. I just wish that when I was growing up, I had a role model, you know, the emotional intelligence that Nikki has at 13 years old. You know, it really is astounding. And I think, you know, as you said, trolling is just so cowardly, and I think, you know, it says so much more about that person than it does the comments.
But the thing is also, this report is not about online trolling. I mean, this is the fact that a disability or a disfigurement of whatever sort is something that young people would take into consideration when it comes to being a friend.
And what struck me with the report is that it's increasingly getting worse as people are going into secondary school. You would think that as we're growing up, that nastiness would cease. You'd think it would be, you know, a child's playground thing, but it's worsening as people get older.
So let me ask you that question about sort of young people now. And we used to say this to our girls, you know, and you'd watch their friends say, you know, big respect to you, and you know, I saw someone the other day and they were disrespecting someone, and so there's all of this, you know, this great, you know, so that we expect respect. Don't disrespect me. I respect you. You're a legend. All of those sort of things. But at the same time, it is on the increase, and we know that this is not everyone. This is a you know, a minority. Well, actually, in this is a third who actually are disrespecting people and choosing their friends because of the way they look.
I think it's just really sad to see, because you'd think in a world so diverse today that that wouldn't be something that people would be thinking and would be choosing to do, you know, not being friends with someone for how they look. Because really, like, this is my main thing that I say to people. You shouldn't judge a person by how they look. You don't know what their interests are. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And I feel like these days, other people think that their condition or what they're going through or their insecurity defines them. And it doesn't. And I feel like we need to teach more young people and even adults that, you know, it's okay to look and it's okay to stare, but you shouldn't choose not to be friends with someone because of how they look. Like, you never know, that person that looks different to how you look or an average person looks could actually end up being someone that you have lots in common with. But yet you're not allowing yourself or allowing that person to show you who they are because of how they look.